Life is magical. It is miraculous. It is a mystery. What do I mean? What do I mean life's miraculous? A mystery, magical. What? Okay. Here is a book, Proof of Heaven. And I invite you to start reading some books or even just some stories around people that have had out-of-body experiences, that have had near-death experiences. And even if they aren't like 100% true or the exact thing that happened, and it was their experience, it may not mean that everyone sees this bright light and it's amazing and you feel incredible. A possibility opens up in us. This is my experience. When we hear other people's stories, the challenges they have met, the way that their life has changed, the way that they related to them, what happened afterwards. I'll give you an example. And, in this world of science being kind of like a new religion, science is amazing. And sometimes it can be, we can believe in science and then realize and think that it's the black and whiteness of science. Like there's no gray areas. Like this is the truth. So, okay, I'll give you a very quick rundown of Proof of Heaven by Eben Alexander, who is a neurosurgeon. So right there, I've dropped in that he's a doctor. He's got a white coat, so there's a lot of credibility already created for this story. And as much as I'm aware of all of these things that make a difference in how we relate to something and how credible we think something is, like I know all those unconscious biases and things, and I still and that's there for me. I'm like, oh well, yeah, this guy's a neuroscientist and this is what happened to him, and obviously it's credible. So about 20 years ago, beautiful lovely neuroscientist called Eben Alexander, incredible family man, really devoted to his work and health, and it's just such a lovely guy. And he goes in a hospital basically, and gets put on monitors. So he's got obviously, you go in a hospital and you get all of these monitors, your brain. So I think it was like meningitis. They didn't know what was wrong with him. He's like paralyzed and he was having these fits and seizures, and he was at a hospital that knew him. So lots of people there knew who he was because I think it was his hospital. His family was nearby. So he goes into this room because he just went into a coma. And he went into this room, into his own room, and he had family sitting with him and holding his hand every moment of the day, which was I just thought that was so sweet. It just has nothing really to do with the story, but they made sure 24 hours a day someone was holding his hand, which, and this is how beloved he is. It's not really relevant either. He could have been an asshole, and his story is still the same. Fascinating, isn't it? So here he is hooked up to all of these machines, his brain activity, his body, his vitals, and his brain. And I think they thought it was meningitis. They still didn't know. And these were top dudes looking at him. And ordinarily, when you have that, your brain function is low, and it was low for him. And you're pretty screwed. Once your brain activity is off like this for an extended period of time, like it's really, you're going to come out a vegetable. That's pretty much the standard scientific findings. So how long do you reckon he was in this state where all of his vitals were like, heartbeat, obviously? 7 days, not hours, 7 days. So 7 days he was in a coma state, and he then went off on this journey like discovering heaven, he calls it. It was kind of like he said he went off and he was in this mud and goop and darkness, and he didn't know he was a person. He didn't know he was Eben. He didn't know the earth existed, people, like none of that. He was just, and he had no concept of time, absolutely didn't know what was going on, right? Didn't know he was in a coma. And he was in this darkness, ickiness, and he was like, it felt like an eternity. Didn't know how long he was in there. And then he came through into this beautiful divine heaven, basically. And lots of things happened. And then he went back down into the goop. And because he was relating to it completely differently, he was fine in the goop, because then he knew, there's this other part as well, and they both exist together. And he comes out. They're about to turn spoiler alert, sorry guys. They're about to turn the machines off, and he comes out of this coma. And they're like, he's fucked. Like, there's no way his brain is working because it's been inactive for this long. And he's a bit fuzzy. However, he comes out, and before he speaks to many people, because there were so many people around experiencing kind of different phenomenon, and then he actually even had like a psychic friend that jumped in and talked to him while he was in that thing. So before he got other people's stories, he just started writing what he experienced. He was just like, oh my God. So the moral of the story is magic exists. We can defy logic and what we think is normal in life, like what we think are the rules of life, of living, of dying, of succeeding and failing, of transforming. We can, do you know how powerful you are? Do you know how powerful I am? Oh. And powerful in this love, connectedness, possibility. Oof. And when we read things, discover things, talk to people that have had different experiences, you don't have to believe their experiences. However, I invite you to try on the possibility that there are other things that there's possible. The possibility other things are possible. And I'm a mystery. You are a mystery, a magical mystery. And in a split second, in a moment, anyone, anything can transform. Anything can do a 180. Any way of our being, like there's been so many people documenting, being suicidal, and then like in a split second, the grace of life, the love, the divinity, the recognition of the divinity of themselves lands, and they're like, oh my goodness. So just take a couple of breaths into that. And just smile. Smile at yourself. Smile at the divine gloriousness that you are, the possibility, the mystery that you are, the magic. And go forth into the world and see what happens.